Welcome to the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show, the only productivity show about working less and enjoying life more. Get rid of overwhelming to-do lists, kick anxiety to the curb, and do more of what makes you happy. Are you ready to live life on your own terms? This is true freedom. This is efficiency by design. Welcome to Freeficiency with Dr. Anna Cragen.
Hello everybody, it's Anna back here for another episode of the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show. And today is an exciting episode because I have my very first guest here. We're gonna have Nadee Guy talking with us all about bullet journaling. Now, Nadee is a friend of mine, and she is also, here we go. And she is also an online marketer who specializes in the important but often underrated area of email marketing strategy. She's got over 12 years in marketing as both a client and a consultant, and she works with a whole bunch of businesses, stuff like hotel chains and retailers and more, with a wide range of budgets. So these days, Nadee helps business owners who know what they should be using email marketing, but they don't really know how to get the best of it. So, and she is also now starting a different business on the side, the Animal Edit. And this is a really cool group that she's got going on where she helps people think about more consciously about how we're living affects animals. So that is really cool. And Nadee is joining us today from Brisbane. And I am so excited for you guys to meet her. So here she is. Nadee, you are now live on the show.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Nadee. It is so good to have you on.
Hi.
Today we are going to be talking about bullet journaling. And when I first approached Nadee about being on the show, it was because I found out that she is a fellow bullet journal aficionado, right? So how long have you been using the bullet journal, Nadee?
I think probably about 8 months, I guess. I started probably early of last year. So yeah, it's been amazing, actually. I can't wait to talk about it because I talk to everyone that I can about this. So I was really excited when you wanted to chat about it on your show. And I'm so excited to be your first guest. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really pumped.
Oh, you're so welcome. This is going to be so cool because talking about bullet journaling is pretty much my favorite thing ever these days. It has quite literally changed my life. And I am just so excited for other people to find out about it too.
Yeah, me too.
So.
Can't wait. So
Right.
I just wanted to ask you, Anna,
Yeah.
technically wise, just so everyone knows, we're just sort of getting our hands dirty with the tech, and I can see on my screen that my face is frozen. So is everything good on your end?
Oh no. Okay, I was kind of hoping that wasn't going to be the case. Yeah, why is it frozen? Because I can
Just
see
on my
you
phone, so I don't know
in
if it's
Skype. Okay, it's now frozen in a different position. Okay, well,
maybe someone can let us know in the comments if they're on.
yeah, exactly. If somebody is in the comments right now, let us know if you are seeing everything okay. So let's just keep going for a little bit because there is
Sure.
a bit of a delay in for when we talk to when people can actually hear us live. Okay,
Yeah, sounds good.
so hopefully we can get that fixed. But yeah, so okay, you've been bullet journaling for 8 months, and what was kind of what got you interested in trying it out?
I think it was really, I was looking for something to help tie everything together because, as you mentioned in the intro, I'm a consultant, so I have clients, and I've been building up my own business on the side around my consulting, but also and I've got the animal edit, which is a real passion of mine, and it's something that I've been trying to put more time into and really build up as well. So I'm sure lots of people can relate that when you have lots of projects on the go and you've maybe got a full-time job or your own business, and then you've got other things happening as well as all the life stuff that goes on as well. It was a solution that I came across that helps really tie everything together. And I am a little bit of a sucker for anything to do with productivity and organization, and I can get sucked into trying lots of different tools. But this particular one really had me hooked from the start, and I think the beauty of it is it's so customizable, and you can be really creative with it. So so I think it was just a solution that I thought would really help me tie everything together.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned like several different things, because to me, that's one of really the strengths of the bullet journal, is because it's not, just one space for everything. You can really organize it how you want, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like there is a sort of a set way to do it, but then you can customize it however you need to, and really, I mean, there's lots of people out there to follow and to get inspiration from. But then as soon as you kind of get the wheels turning and realizing what you can do with it, it's really the only limit is your imagination with it. It's pretty cool.
Exactly. So in a little bit, let's go into a little bit of an explanation of what the bullet journal is for anybody listening and watching who has never heard of it. But for now, for anybody listening and watching right now, go ahead and write us in the comments. Tell us if you've heard about the bullet journal or what you've heard, or if you are using it, because we'd love to know what you guys are thinking about this topic as well. So, Nadee, let's go ahead and maybe tell people a little bit about what the basic system of the bullet journal is. You want to take that?
Yeah, I can have a go at it. I haven't tried explaining it in a whole lot of detail before, but let's give it a crack.
Sure.
So the bullet journal is basically it's a way of combining all of your tasks and actions together. And so you start with, and by the way, before I launch into this, there's also the bulletjournal.com, which is sort of where it all started, and that has some really great resources and some instructions. But what it allows you to do is to keep a to-do list or an action list in one place or in multiple collections. So in mine, it starts with an index, and so the index is you create it as you go. So every time you put something new on a new page, you add it into the index and the page number. Then at the start of mine, I've also got like my big goals, my big life goals, and that's sort of what I've been working on over the last 4 to 6 weeks, setting up my goals for this year. And then from there, you can have different collections, which I guess we'll touch on, but I won't talk too much about that straight up. And then basically you set it out, or the way that I set it out is at a month. So you have a month on a page with just kind of all your days down the left, and then any major events or birthdays that are happening that month. And then you have weekly spreads and daily spreads as well. So your weekly spread, I think, might be a good idea if we show an example of this, and I've got mine right here. But basically, like, you have the days of the week and then what's happening on those days, and then you have another page with the goals that you're trying to achieve that week and the specific tasks that you need to do that week to achieve your goals. And then on your daily list, that becomes a lot more detailed about what you're doing that specific day. So I don't know if I've butchered the description of it, but the way that I like to see it is that it's you start really high level and you focus on what you want to achieve high level, and then it sort of gradually filters down from there and allows you to go, okay, this month, what am I going to achieve out of my big goals? What do I need to do this week and today in order to achieve those big goals? There's a lot more to it than that, but that's kind of the way that I see the big concept of it.
Love it. Thank you so much for breaking that down for us, Nadee. So let's go ahead and show and given that your video is unfortunately frozen, that I'm sorry about that. It's the first time that I'm trying this setup with Skype, and I guess my computer just can't handle it. I'm gonna go ahead and see what I can do about that in the future. But let me go ahead and show. I guess I can show mine, because I also have almost all of the things that you talked about. So I also have a yearly spread. So let me see if I can see that. So I have the months, and like a little calendar there, and then also have like big picture items that happen like during those months. So then a monthly spread can look differently. So my monthly spread for personal and for business looks a little bit different, but it's kind of like an overview of what all my month is. So so there you go. Like I really wish that we could get the video back so that people can see what yours looks like, Nadee. But I just want to give people a little bit of a glimpse into what these layouts actually look like. Also, I think we should mention early on that there are so many people who go wild and crazy with their bullet journals. They're coloring it in, they're making it super, super complicated, and I just want to let everybody know watching that you don't have to do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think and if you look on the bulletjournal.com, like the founder or the creator of the bullet journal does definitely start very simply, and it's all in black and white. And it's, I'd say, I showed my husband the system, and I think it actually attracted him to it because he'd seen mine, and mine was all colorful, and I've got like I'm learning, hand lettering and all this kind of stuff. And that's not really him, but he saw the way that the bullet journal creator sets his up, and it's much more simple. It's easy to get started, but I think just learning the foundations is important, and then once you've got that, then you can be as creative as you want or not.
Yeah, exactly. My bullet journal is fairly Spartan. I like grids. I like organizing things in grids and bullet points, and I actually combine, because you mentioned a weekly spread and a daily spread, I actually combine my weekly spread and daily spread into one, where I have all the grids for each day of the week on one page, and then the rest of the space for the dailies is just my notes and bullet points. Okay, so
Cool.
yeah, so now that we got a little bit of an overview of what the bullet journal is, go ahead and tell us, Nadee, about how do you manage to juggle your two businesses, and your personal stuff all in one book? Because I really think that that's kind of the key to the bullet journal, is that you can do that. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about how that works for you.
Yeah, okay, cool. Good question. And to be honest, I'm still being creative with this and still sort of learning how I can do this best. The way that I do it right now is in my weekly spread, I have different sections for each of the major goals that I have. So I'll have one for nadeeguy.com, one for the animal edit, and then there's a couple of other projects that I've been working on, as well as my my personal elements as well. And so that's where I focus, is on that weekly spread. And then I put sort of the current projects or the current goals under those individual projects. And then what I do, and this is one thing that I wanted to share actually with everyone that I have found works really well for me, is that I have a set, I've taken time to do like a daily schedule template, a weekly schedule template, and a monthly planner as well. And what I mean is that I've worked out which tasks and projects I need to work on a weekly basis and, once a month. And I have those as spreads in my bullet journal so that when it comes to planning my week, I can reference those spreads and pick out the ones that I need to do on that particular day. So it might sound a bit complicated, but it actually really helps me, because I know that there's things I need to do. I need to write a blog article once a week for a couple of different things. I need to send a newsletter once a month. I have a client that has weekly Instagram posts that need to be scheduled. So I just use my weekly spread to tell me what I need to do on a Monday, and then I plug that into the week. And I do. One thing I'll mention about it is that I make sure that those tasks don't take up the whole day. It's just a reminder that I need to do that on that day. I can get it done anytime during the day around the other stuff that I've got going on. So I hope that helps. But I think that's one of my favourite things I've got going on at the moment with the bullet journal, is just this reference so that I can know that I'm staying on track and know that I'm not missing anything that I need to do once a month, for example.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. So, so you kind of have your monthly spreads that are separated by business, but then you bring it all together in your weekly spreads. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I bring everything together in the weekly. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, that's exactly what I do as well. And I think that's really the key to making it work with a lot of different things. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say? So actually, let me ask you, what have you been doing before with your planning, before you discovered the bullet journal method? What was your system set up like then?
I think before I was using the bullet journal, I still use Trello, and that was something that I had started using before. But I just found with Trello that it became a bit overwhelming, because then I ended up with all these boards and all these tasks, and it wasn't telling me what I needed to do, or helping me prioritize those projects. So that was where I needed something to pull everything together. So Trello was something I was doing beforehand. I think email as well is another one that I tend to rely too much on, as I think a lot of people do, on your inbox to be your to-do list. And I have another system now for managing my inbox. But basically, like, I don't use it as a to-do list anymore. Which is a relief. And I think just having daily to-do lists was probably the other thing that I was doing, was sitting down at the start of the day and thinking about what do I need to do today, and just kind of ticking it off as I go, as opposed to being particularly strategic about what I was achieving each day.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of people do use their email as a to-do list manager. So just to tangent a little bit, what was the system that you use to deal with your email now that you mentioned?
I thought you might ask that, because I think that's something a lot of people would like to hear about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I actually listened to. There's probably people that have heard it. I listened to an Amy Porterfield podcast where she had a guest, and the name escapes me right now, but she had a guest who was all about getting to inbox zero. But it was more than just about your emails. It was about having a whole system to support that. So the system that I use now is I basically have, like, I empty out my inbox every day, but all of my emails go into one of three folders. There's immediate actions, reference items, and read later, or kind of the promotional style emails. And so the idea is to get everything out of your inbox and filter it into one of those three. And then anything that you come across you can do immediately, then you're doing that as you're going through your inbox and filtering your emails out. And then the idea is to empty your immediate emails folder once a week, and then have any tasks that come up as a part of going through your inbox, have them written down into a list of context-based things to do. And this is another spread in my bullet journal where there's 5 categories. I'm going to have to remember them now, but there's categories like things to do around the home, things to discuss, or phone calls to make, things to do on the computer, and errands to run. And so that becomes like a hub, I guess, of things to do. And so that sits in my bullet journal, but it also is driven by my emails as well. So, and I find that really helpful because it's sort of one place to go to reference things I need to do in certain situations. Like if I'm sitting at the computer, I can look at my computer list to see all the things I need to do while I'm sitting there.
I love
It's
that.
really
I
cool.
love that. Yeah, because I think a lot of the times we're just sitting down at a computer. We know that we want to be working or we know we need to be working, but we don't know what we need to be working on. So having that list of like, hey, here's what you do if you're just sitting on the computer with nothing to do. Here are some productive things that that you can be doing, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's the same with errands. Like if you need to leave the house to go and, get groceries or something, then you might look at your errands list and know that I also need to go pick up the dry cleaning and I also need to go buy a yoga mat, which is something I need to do at the moment. So it's a handy reference to make sure you're batching all of your activities as well.
Exactly. I'm so glad that you mentioned batching because I was kind of wondering if we would get to talking about that as well because I know you're interested in this whole productivity stuff as well. So I was kind of hoping that we would touch on a few different productivity things during talking
Yeah.
about the bullet journal. But yeah, so actually you've already answered the next question that I had for you is how you bring your digital stuff into the bullet journal because the bullet journal is primarily a paper and pencil method. I think there are some people who do it on Evernote or in a spreadsheet, but primarily it's meant to be like, a paper and pencil or paper and pen notebook. So a lot of the times that people have questions about like, well, I use email, I use my calendar, I have maybe like a to-do list manager. So how do I like integrate all of that, adding just another tool to it? But I think you've already kind of answered that question perfectly because of how, you have emails that go into buckets and then you transfer those as to-do lists in your bullet journal, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, is
Yeah.
there, do you use any digital tools like, well, calendars or to-do list managers
Yeah.
or anything like that?
I definitely use calendars and I use my Google Calendar for all of my events. Some reminders, but I actually tend to use Apple reminders for just quick things that I need to be reminded of at certain times that might not necessarily be urgent.
Hmm.
Um, and then the other big one that I use is definitely Trello. I use that as a bit of a project management system. It helps with clients and it helps with my own business. But it's much more detailed than the bullet journal. I find the bullet journal is a great reference point for things I need to do, whereas in Trello, I'll keep a whole lot more detail about the activities and about specific things that I need to do, or even details about particular, keywords for blog posts and all that kind of stuff as well. So those are probably the main things that I use. I definitely use Evernote as well as a bit of a storage kind of repository.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, those are the big ones that I rely on, I think.
Okay, excellent. Because I think I'm the other way. I like to put as much stuff into my bullet journal as I can because
Okay.
getting on my phone or getting on the computer to check something usually doesn't work for me throughout the day. Like I just have, a couple hours at night when I'm working at my computer, and other times I'm just on the go with my phone. So having my book with me makes it easier for me to just have everything in it. But I was going to ask you, since you do use the digital tools and you use the bullet journal, how do you make sure that that you don't like double enter things or you enter it into one, but then you look for it in the other? Like, how do you juggle that having a digital
Hmm.
tools and your bullet journal? How does that all like work together so you're not confused about like, wait, where was this task? Like, is this task in my bullet journal? Is this task in my email? Like, where is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. That's a really good question, and it's something that's something that I was struggling with at the start. I think I handle it fairly well now, and it's because even though I have different tools that I use, I know that my bullet journal is my main go-to, and it keeps me on the same course and working towards what I know my goals are, what I've decided my goals are. So the way that it all fits together is like for example, with my monthly planner, I know that once a month I'm going to review my blog plan, my upcoming blog plan for my business as well as my clients' businesses, and I have them on different days. And then so on that day, then I'll go to Trello, and that's where I manage the upcoming blog posts and the strategy and the tactics within each. So there, I guess you could say there is double up because I'm putting it in both places, but they fulfill different reasons, I think. So bullet journal is my go-to, and then I've got more information and deeper detail in my digital tools. I don't know if that's bulletproof because I'm still sort of fairly flexible with the way that I do it, but it's working for me so far. So yeah.
Excellent. I love that. Your bullet journal is your go-to, and then you look for more details in your Trello, right? And you mentioned that you use Trello for like project management type stuff, and this is perfect because Trello is very visual. So for anybody who's not familiar with Trello, it's a Kanban style visual board where tasks are cards, and you can move these cards around through different lists. So like say your lists for blog posts are, like write the blog post, find the image, promote it, then you can move that card along as you go through creating that blog post, and you can visually see that. And that's something that you cannot do with a bullet journal, right? I wish you could.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wish you could, because then
Yeah.
I wouldn't need a computer at all to do my work.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, because it's so much easier digitally just to take a couple of seconds to move a card or move a piece of information. I think that you probably could do it in the bullet journal. It just wouldn't be as quick. You'd have to rewrite it, and yeah, that's not ideal.
Yeah, right. And I think one of the parts that I think are crucial to the bullet journal method that we haven't yet touched on is migrating tasks. So do you want to kind of explain how you use or what migrating tasks is, and then also how you use that to keep order within your bullet journal?
Yeah, you're right, actually. That's one of the key parts of the bullet journal and one of the things that I think is really great about it. So you will have on let's start with daily list, because that's where I use it the most. You'll have, say, a list of things that you're going to do that day relating to all your different goals and projects that you've got going on. And generally, I try to have no more than sort of 5 or 6 things that I'm trying to do a day. Ultimately 3, most important. But the reality is sometimes you won't get everything done that's on your list. So the bullet journal method is that there's little symbols for what you use to indicate whether a task has been done. So when you're migrating a task, you basically put like a little arrow over the bullet next to the item or the task, and then you rewrite it somewhere else. So you might rewrite it into next to tomorrow if it's something really important that you need to do tomorrow, or you might put it somewhere else if you've got another collection of things that you're going to do in the future, or maybe for next month, then you could jot it down there. So it sort of allows you to take tasks and make sure that they don't slip off the list. And also, just because you haven't done it today doesn't mean that it's panic stations, because you can still keep track of it and keep moving it forward. But the other thing that I like about it is that it prompts you to really think about whether that task is necessary, because if you haven't got it done, then you either have to rewrite it or you need to cross it out, basically. If you decide that it's not worth your time or you're not going to get to it, then you can cross it out. So it kind of makes you continually think about which tasks are the most important as well.
I am so glad that you mentioned it, because that's exactly what I was going to talk about next. Like we have this connection going on. But yeah,
I love
I'm
it.
so glad that you mentioned having to rewrite tasks, because I think that's one of the big advantages to having a paper and pencil or paper and pen system rather than digital. Because it's very impersonal to just copy and paste stuff, or, move the card to Trello. You're not really like, oh, okay, like I'll just move it over to the next day. And then eventually you end up with, a to-do list that's 5 miles long, and
Hmm.
you feel completely overwhelmed by it because you don't even know where to start now on that to-do list, because everything keeps getting moved forward and forward, even
Yeah.
sometimes things like you mentioned that are no longer important, or things that you should no longer be thinking about, but because they are there taking up the visual space, they're causing you anxiety. So I'm so glad
Yeah.
that you brought this up. So what are, like, do you have a recent example of some tasks that you ended up crossing out from your bullet journal, which otherwise you would have, set over to the next day, or like stayed on your to-do list forever, I guess?
Um, yes, I am just looking at my last couple of days in my bullet journal now, and actually there is one on there that I've crossed out, which is this relates to your show actually, Anna. I was going to buy a plant to put in the background of my video, which I'm actually now glad that I didn't worry if the video is not working. Um, so somehow someone knew somewhere that that was going to happen. But
Oh
I had that
man.
on my list of things to do yesterday. So yesterday was Sunday for me. Um, and I was thinking about the show and getting ready and, making sure that I had a nice background. And I was going to buy a plant and put it there. And then it got to, I did a whole lot of other stuff yesterday, and it got to the afternoon and I thought, I'm not going to get to the shops to buy this plant. Realistically, I'm not going to go tomorrow. So I crossed it out. So that's a
Nice.
pretty simple example.
Yeah, exactly. I usually cross out stuff to do around the house. So, like
Yeah.
anything to do with, like cleaning or organizing, I'm like, you know what? If it still bothers me, like next month, I will put it back on the list.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you put it on there with good intentions, but then you don't get around to it, and it's like, actually, it's not really that important. So if I really want to do it, I'll write it back on when it occurs to me. So yeah.
Right. Well, and I'm so sorry about the video not working for everybody watching the show. I'm so sorry that you can't see Nadee, because she's so much fun to hang out with. I'm watching her on my computer now, and it's just awesome. So I'm really sorry, you guys. I'm probably gonna have to think about what else to do for the next guest while I have a week to figure it out. So it's going on my bullet journal list for sure.
It may even be my camera, Anna, so don't blame yourself. We can take it offline.
Sure,
Might
sure.
be mine.
Let's chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess one of the last questions that I had for you, Nadie, is um how has the bullet journal changed how you work, if at all? Kind of like just big picture, because I know it definitely was a game changer for me when I discovered the bullet journal, and I think we started it at about the same time, because it has been about like 8 to 10 months that I've been using it as well. So
Hmm.
how has it changed kind of how you work, how you feel about your work? Like, do you feel more organized with the bullet journal versus the system that you had before? And just any like, yeah, like what do you think about the system?
Yeah. I think it's really beautiful because it ties in so well with making sure that we're working towards the big dreams and goals that we have in life. Because it's really prompted me, that along with a few other things, have really prompted me to think about the big things that I'm trying to achieve. And so that's kind of number one, I guess, is knowing that everything that I'm doing every day is working towards what I want my life to be, as well as being happy, today as well. Because we didn't talk about this, but there's spreads that you can have that sort of celebrate your life as well. I've got a gratitude list in my bullet journal. So there's things like that as well. So that's probably one big thing, is making sure that I'm staying on the path that I want to be on. And the other big thing is that I think it's really helped me to feel a bit calmer. I think you mentioned this earlier, because when you have lots of lists lists and post-it notes and digital tools and all different types of things that you use. I don't know about you guys, but I can get a little bit panicky when I feel like I don't know everything that's going on, and I feel like I need to know everything that I need to be doing at any particular time. And the bullet journal has really given me that calmness because I know that I can focus on what's in the bullet journal. I've already taken the time to sit down and think about what I need to be working on, and I do have other tools that I use, but as long as I stay within what the bullet journal is telling me to do, then I can cope.
Yeah, yeah,
Cope.
exactly. That's such a
I can
good
deal.
word to use there. Cope. I love that.
Yeah, so I agree. I think it's life changing. I think yeah, it's a simple method, but you can use it however you want to use it. And I don't know about you, but I started just in a notebook. You can get particular bullet journal accessories and books and everything. So, but I just started in a notebook because I wanted to see whether it was going to work for me, and that's what I did, and I loved it. And then I was lucky enough at Christmas time, my husband bought me an actual, like, official bullet journal, which I love as well.
Oh,
So,
nice.
um,
Yeah,
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 so you can start small.
I totally just started an aligned composition book. And now I have the dotted, like the name that nobody can pronounce that starts with an L,
Yeah,
Leuchtturm or something like that. I'm probably butchering it, but now I have one of those and it's so nice. But
yeah, it's
yeah.
so nice.
Yeah, so anybody who's listening, who's thinking about starting a bullet journal, don't worry about getting any fancy accessories or like fancy pens or a fancy notebook. Just start with what you have at home, like a spiral notebook or a composition book, or, even like a notepad, and see how you like the system, and then go from there. So,
Yeah.
also, I wanted to ask, or tell everybody, I guess, about how you can get started with bullet journal, because I think people see those fancy spreads on Pinterest or online and they're just so overwhelmed with how to begin. So how would you say, Nadee, is the easiest way for somebody to get started using the bullet journal today?
I think that the initial video by the bullet journal creator is probably the best, simplest, and easiest way to get started because it just explains all the basic foundations. So I'm pretty sure if you go to bulletjournal.com, his video will be there. And I would say not to get too, like, don't go searching too much because you will find a whole new world of bloggers and YouTubers and Pinterest boards and all types of things that are going on with bullet journal, and I think it can get really overwhelming. So just start really simply and yeah, just grab a fresh notebook, have a look at bulletjournal.com and go from there.
Excellent. I love that. Yeah, just start a notebook, go to bulletjournal.com, watch that video, and I'll put the link to that video in the show notes for this episode. So yeah, and just grab a notebook and get started. And I think something that's really helped me is to kind of get into the mindset of like, okay, everything goes into this book, into like the daily spread section. Just whenever I have a thought,
Mhm.
whenever I have like a to do, I just put it in there first, and then I go back and organize it. I think that has also really helped me to get started with using the
Mhm.
bullet journal too.
Yeah, 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 definitely use it as your go-to notebook, I think. And then like it'll start to evolve and you'll come up with new ideas and it'll get creative, I think, with how you want to use it, but you can use it pretty simply to start with.
Excellent. Yes. Yes, I love that so much.
Mhm.
Okay, so um, oh, I also wanted to mention while you were talking that you have a space where you write down what you're grateful for in your life. I love that so much. I have it in my weekly spread, actually. So one side of my weekly spread is the days of the week and all the to-dos. And on the other side, I have things like my wins for the week, like people that I've connected with, my best memories
Yeah.
of that week, and what I'm grateful for that week. So bullet journal doesn't have to be this, like really structured business, all about business kind of thing. It can also help you in your life.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I love that you've got different things that you write down and it kind of reflects. It's just really about life, I guess, because business is a part of life, but then there's all these other things to be grateful for and things that we need to do in life as well. So it's sort of just this hub of information about your life. So yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
exactly. Yeah, and then you can look back to your weekly spreads from like a year ago or 6 months ago and see what you were kind of excited about back then. I think that is a big plus to having an analog system versus a digital system, because I think Google Calendar will delete events like past a certain time in the past. And I've always hated that because I'm like, no, I want to see what I was doing a year ago on this day.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And look, yeah, it's and you can be creative as well. I don't know about you, but I like to draw little pictures and stuff too. So it's always a bit of a thrill to look back on those little things too.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Well, I have had an absolute blast chatting with you about all things bullet journal, and I do hope that anybody watching and listening will give it a try. Right? Like, so go watch the
Yeah.
video of the bullet journal, get a notebook, and just start putting everything that you can think of in there and see
Yeah.
if that kind of system works for you. So Nadee,
Yeah, absolutely.
how can people keep up contact with you and find you online?
Well, thanks for asking, Anna. So I actually created a little freebie for your audience, and it does relate to my consulting, but it's all about being organized. So if you go to nadeeguy.com/Anna, there's a worksheet, and there's a set of worksheets, sorry, a toolkit in there for your email marketing. And basically it's all about getting your email marketing all organized for 2017. And it follows the process that I was talking about earlier, about making sure that you're looking at the big goals first, and then sort of filtering down to how email can help you achieve those big goals. And it walks you through the process of how to do that. And there's a few different links and tools and things that you can use in there as well. So I hope that that's useful. And then the other thing I wanted to quickly mention as well was just you touched on my passion about animals and about this other side project that I've got going on. So I wanted to mention animaleditcommunity.com, and that's the Facebook group that I've created, which is all about people who have respect for and love animals and draw inspiration from animals and would love to learn about ways that they can improve their impact or reduce their impact on animals. So the best place to learn more about that is animaleditcommunity.com.
Yeah, and I am a proud member of the Animal Edit community. So, and I can say that it's a great group of people who really care about making a difference in the world and how we relate to animals. So definitely check that out. I have Nadee's link to the email worksheets on the screen right now, nadeeguy.com/Anna. And also do make sure that you check out the animaleditcommunity.com as well to connect with Nadee further. So, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode on bullet journaling. It's a little bit of a short intro, but I hope that you've seen how it can be used, not just for business, but also for your life. And thank you, Nadee, so much for jumping on with us. It was a pleasure, as always, to talk with you all things organizing and bullet journal, because I think this is the first time that we talked about bullet journal in person, right?
Yeah, it is. And I can't wait. I think we should continue talking once we finish the episode because I love it.
Oh,
So
totally,
thank you so much.
totally, yes. And yeah, and I forgot what I was gonna say. But for
Well, I
all of
will
you
say
guys
something while
listening, I'm sorry, what? Go ahead.
I was going to say, while you're thinking about what to say next, I just wanted to say thank you for having me as a guest on your show. I love what you're doing with Freeficiency, and I can't wait to see what all the next steps that you're taking as well. And I'm all about being organised and being productive. So I'm really thrilled to be involved. So thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you so much, Nadee. Thank you for being my first guinea pig guest and for dealing with the tech issues. Like while we were chatting right before the show, my computer froze and it was just a mess. So, so thank you
It's so
for
fun.
dealing with tech issues. And I really think that people will get a lot of value out of this episode to get their life more organized, because like we've been talking about, that's something that I think we really need now in this age of so many tools and so many things to do, that yeah, I think it's gonna be a relief for a lot of people to hear that you can wrangle all of those things.
Definitely. There is light.
Yes, yes, exactly. All right, so this has been the very second episode of the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I am your host, Anna Cragen, and I will see you again next week, same bat time, same bat channel. I'll see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show. You can find more great content like this at freeficiency.com.